Well, believe it or not, it's only just over a fortnight since the general election, and politicians are still coming to terms with the result. One of the surprise casualties on June the 8th was the Conservatives' Craig Williams, who lost to Labour's Anna McMorrin in Cardiff North. 2 years ago, he turned Wales' most marginal seat into a fairly comfortable Tory stronghold, maybe? Tory marginal. 2,137 was the majority. Craig joins me now. Good morning.
Morning, Vaughan. I wouldn't call it a stronghold.
No, but it was comfortable, wasn't it? Your victory just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And, your loss this time was by a fairly large margin. And you were on here just before when the election was called, and you say you welcomed the election, you'd give a clear mandate to Theresa May and the party. I mean, what do you think went wrong?
It's an interesting question, and you'd guess that this has been on the top of my mind for about 2 weeks. What went wrong? And I think it's best encapsulated from a memory of the campaign when I was on Whitchurch High Street and, smiling at the Socialist Workers' Party handing out Labour literature. And, at the time I thought this is a clear, example of Labour splitting and the campaign being all over the shop. But actually, as time's gone on, I thought, actually, we were fighting two different parties. We were fighting a momentum Socialist Workers' Party, come Green combination, and the traditional Labour Party. Now, the traditional Labour Party seemed to have the view that they were going to do badly and in a very defensive footing. But the Momentum, the Socialist Workers' Parties, all these other different members that don't traditionally campaign very hard, were out there, and they were out, and they were buoyed up.
So in a sense, when we can be cynical about this, there was, if I can call it that, a popular movement.
I think that's right. I think it would be churlish not to say that Jeremy Corbyn has not switched on people that are either normally turned off politics or they are normally supportive of a more extreme left party, and he's brought them inside the tent. I'm not sure how the traditional Labour Party are happy with this broadened tent. That's a good question. But they are on the forefront, and they ran a successful campaign.
It can't just be about them being successful, though, can it? There must have been clear missteps from your point of view from the party national.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching some of the coverage. I'm not watching it all, but now and again I switch the TV on to remind myself of the moment. And it's bizarre because you see the largest party, the Conservatives, which are obviously in government, are obviously doing a deal with DUP, so in a minority government. So clearly their success is being portrayed as failure. And then you see the Labour Party, who clearly have not succeeded in becoming the largest party or forming a government. So their failure is being portrayed as a success. It's a bizarre
come
moment.
On, you can't regard this election as a success for the Conservatives.
I don't. Clearly, we didn't get a majority government, and clearly Cardiff North, true to form, as decided to be a bellwether and not support the Conservative Party. But it hasn't been successful. We didn't get over the line in terms of the number of seats, but we are still the largest party. We are still in government.
Was it a mistake to concentrate so much on Theresa May, to relegate the sort of party name to lowercase letters down the bottom of the leaflet? Would you have preferred to fight it as a Conservative candidate rather than as Theresa May's candidate?
I think we're going to have a look at the campaign and pull it apart. We're going to have a look at the campaign in Wales as opposed to England and Scotland. And we're going to have to look at these differences of what went well and what went badly, because it wasn't a universal bad election. If you look at the gains in Scotland, if you look at some of the gains in England. But in Wales, we've had two elections now. We've had the Assembly election, which I concede the Welsh Conservatives did not do very well in, and we've had the general election, which I concede that we haven't done as well as we wanted in. So we're going to have to have a look at why.
Do you need Welsh conservatism to be more than a brand? Because Scottish conservatism clearly is a thing, if we can say that. Whereas it strikes me that the Welsh Conservatives have a logo, but in terms of status within the party, it's more or less treated the same as an English region. And Andrew R.T. Davies certainly doesn't have any of the clout that Ruth Davidson has.
Well, look, I think if you look at Ruth has done personally and turned that image around, but the Welsh Conservative Party have our own manifesto. We have our own policy development. Can we be doing more? Of course we can. Is something going wrong? Yes, clearly. But, I'm not have a good think and a good strategic look at what the Welsh Conservative need to sit back, have a good think and a good strategic look at what the Welsh Conservative Party is going to look at the next election. Now, whether that's the next Assembly election or a general before that, I think, that's a good debate in itself. But clearly, something has to change in terms of our offer and our strategy.
On the night of the election, you put out a very gracious tweet, I thought. You said, "Thank you to everyone who voted for us in Cardiff North. Heartbroken for a super team and supporters. Sorry I let you down. Congratulations, Anna McMorrin." In what way did you let them down, do you think?
Well, I think, look, I was the candidate. I was the former MP. I was the head of our campaign in Cardiff North. And I think I've got to take some responsibility for our campaigning.
Well, it wasn't really your fault, though.
No, you're being very terribly kind, Vaughan. But, when you've got a team of supporters, not just that, any outgoing AM MP, has a team of staff as well. And, it was very much in that thought that, A, I'm making my team redundant, which is not the best thing to be doing, and B, that, I have a great team of supporters in Cardiff North, and we chucked everything at it. And, I think I deserve to tell my supporters, look, I'm a little sorry.
But there are so many human stories behind this, and this would apply to Labour MPs who lost their seat, apply to any MP who lost their seat. You're a young man, you've essentially lost your job. No doubt you have a mortgage, you've got a family to look after. There's other people you're employing that depending on you. How do you come to deal with it while at the same time, in some ways, also going through a grieving process, aren't you?
No, it's a really good question. And I suppose there's twofold here. So I'm young and have a young family, but that also helps you. I walked through the door after the count, which I was obviously disappointed. The dog still jumped on me. The dog was still all over me. He didn't know something was wrong. In the morning, I still got the, Charlie, the 4-year-old, and Amelia wanting their nappies changed, and they wanted to go to rugby training. So life goes on. And I think the great thing about being a young politician with a family is it gives you that perspective that help me get through it. Am I through it yet? Probably not. So will I be soon? Probably.
So no point, if you're not through it yet, no point saying where next.
Next is rugby training with Charlie, so I better go soon. But, look, I've got a bit of breathing space where I'll decide what next. But, I really care about Wales and, the regeneration, the rejuvenation of our economy and really delivering. So I'm not going far, Vaughan.
Craig, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you very much indeed.